It was the night before my first day of secondary school. I don't really remember what happened that night, but one moment I was on my top bunk thinking about school, and the next thing I knew, I was on the floor with a fractured skull. I had fallen off my top bunk, and I was probably screaming. Everything felt confusing and scary. Seriously, I really don't recommend a fractured skull. But there was one thing I remember clearly from that night. It was not the fall, and not even the pain. My dad was there right away. He stayed with me every single second before the ambulance came. I don't exactly remember the words he said to me, but I remember how he made me feel. He made me feel more strong, more courageous, like I could get through it. At the hospital, the pain was awful. I remember crying and telling my mom how much it hurt. But then she looked straight at me and she told me to look at her. I did. And suddenly, when I did, I felt calm. It's hard to explain looking at my mom's face in that moment, but suddenly, the pain did not feel as strong anymore. She never left my side that night. 2 people, 1 night, 1 week, and 1 recovery. And something was becoming clear to me, even if I cannot put it into words yet. A week later, I finally went to my first day of secondary school. That should have felt like an exciting moment, right? But instead, it was another shock. I'd already missed the first whole week, the week where people started making friends, forming groups, and settling into their new classes. By the time I arrived, it felt like everyone had already found their place, and to make things even worse, my best friends were not even in the same class as me. I felt alone. And the only boy I knew was someone who was often left out by others just because he was a little bit different from everyone else. He was a kid who knew everything about planes. He knew the exact model just by glancing at it, the distance they can travel, and even the years they were built. Other kids thought this was weird, and they made fun of him for it. But one day, I just actually started to listen to him, and I realized that he was not weird. He was just more interested in something most people aren't. And as a matter of fact, he knew about that one thing more than anybody I've ever met before. And in my book, that is something impressive. Before the accident, we had not really much of a connection. But because I also felt different and out of place, I saw him into a new way, and I got to know him properly. And that friendship taught me something I do not want to forget. Some of the best people are the ones others ignore. Slowly, we became friends. And while that was happening, something else was happening too. The people who I thought were close to me before the fall, before me walking to school a week later, turned out not to be. One of them was this girl I had been close with throughout primary school. She had always been kind to me, or at least I thought she was. But when secondary school started, something changed. she started making fun of me. Not just once, not just twice, but nearly every single day, and it was usually in front of the whole class. But what hurt the most was not what she said, but it was from someone I trusted. But that's when I realized something difficult, but important. She had never been really my friend. She was just someone I sat next to in class. And that was when I realized what I've already been shown at home. My dad stayed beside me when I fell. My mom never left my side. And the boy I barely knew before the accident, one who other people thought didn't count, turned out to be one of the most real friends I have today. 3 people who are real and showed up, and a lot of people who aren't and didn't. Hard moments show you who is real and who isn't. That sounds like something adults say, am I right? But I did not learn it from an adult. I learned it at 11 years old. From a fall off a bunk bed to a week I spent missing school, I learned it by watching who was there and who wasn't. That is the only test that matters. And once you've been on that floor and you looked up to see someone standing next to you, that you cannot unsee. Choose those people, but more importantly, be one of those people. Thank you.